Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started at 7 o'clock on the nose. Thank you for a long afternoon of meetings for most of us this afternoon here. Call the meeting to order. We're going to observe our traditional moment of silent reflection, followed by the pledge, please. Thank you very much. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first up this evening, not that she really is a guest. I mean, she's a big part of our community, but she's a guest here at City Council. We have our Executive Director of the CVB, Lacey Ramsey, here to give us the annual report from the CVB. I got to get one thing out of my office real quick. So while Lacey's setting up, I'll be right back.
You got show and tell?
I don't.
You're setting up?
Yeah, forgot my tricks to keep you all entertained. I apologize. So while we are waiting, did you all get a copy of, I sent a digital copy over of the annual report with my budgets. Did you guys? Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's just a quick rundown of a few of the highlights of what we've done through the year. I've also included the 23-24 fiscal year profit, loss, and balance sheet, so you are welcome to review those. And if you have questions on any of the financials, you are welcome to reach out to me anytime. If you don't have my contact information, let me know and I will make sure that you have phone numbers and emails. But as far as the annual report, just an overview of some of the things that we've been working towards, things we want to continue on looking to as we move ahead into 24-25. It includes some analytics from our website, some hits there, our e-newsletter. We do have, if you are not subscribed, we do have a monthly newsletter that goes out with events that we have around town. Most of the time during the school year, I do have a service scholar, Brooke Hamrick from the college. She's a wonderful resource, and she typically is the one who will send those out for us. And then our social media analytics are on there too, mostly for Facebook. I am still working on getting logged in and access back to Twitter and some of the Instagram. And then at the bottom of the third page is just a highlight of some events that I've either attended or supported over the year. I know we talked about it a lot last year with WAMSB, but it did fall within this fiscal year. So we did help with that event. We've done the yard sale, which is coming up again in a few weeks in Upshur County and Lewis County. We've helped the chamber with various events, from their murder mystery, annual dinner, anything that the chamber needs, we try to collaborate with them on. I've helped out at the event center with a few things, the Shriners NRA. Randy knows if he has something, needs an extra set of hands, he can call our office, and we're happy to help as much as we can. Strawberry Festival, we helped. I was on the board, so I helped in that capacity, but then as from the CVB side, we did help with the promotion of the literature, the creation, print of the rack card, their schedule of events that went out. We helped facilitate all of those things for them. We helped with the same way with the barbecue bash, helping them with the cost of their rack cards. They did do all of their design work. We helped with the welcome signs they designed as well. We just helped offset some of those costs for them. I've attended the Governor's Conference last September and Hospitality University at the Greenbrier in February, and I will be doing both of those again within this fiscal year. In the winter, we did a scavenger hunt for the kids, which is always fun. We sent out create scavenger hunt cards, and the point of that is to help drive business to our local businesses inside of Upshur County, including like the Wildlife Center, the Christmas Tree Farm, shops on Main Street. The kids go around and get a stamp, and the point is just to drive during the holidays people to want to patronize the businesses we have here. More recently, the Upshur County Trails Group did host a mountain bike event. We did help support them with that, and we're working to get materials together to highlight the trails and the water, the Buckhannon River, to promote that more heavily as they're building those things up, and that is a big touristy draw. So we want to continue those relationships or building new relationships there so we can continue to highlight those. And then we've been working to get some directory boards up around town so people can see the different businesses and then have some of the QR codes that link back to the CVB website for places to eat, things to do, places to stay, and things of that nature. And then you'll see as you move on just some screen grabs from different social media we posted, calendar of events, Strawberry Festival things. And then beyond that, you'll see little snippets of some of the projects we have actually worked on and put to print. We have taken out various ads in some local and then national print magazines. We've done several with Travel, Taste, and Tour, which does go across the U.S. It goes in cruise ships. It's in bookstores, gas stations, where you can find a magazine. Travel, Taste, and Tour was there. So we've done a couple with them. We've done several with Food and Travel. And our most recent one we had in Canada Travel Magazine. We did an ad with them, and they also did a digital billboard on one of their busier highways in Ontario. So that ran inside of June. So that's been the bulk of what we've been doing. We are looking forward to continuing on. We said we have some more print things coming up, collaborating with the other CVBs, especially the ones in the Mountain Lake region. We've done co-ops with them, and we'll continue to do those. We've been working with Lewis County to see if we can get some traction back on the 33 things to do on 33 and maybe expand that beyond just Lewis and Upshur and Randolph counties. So we're looking to have a busy year ahead. Do you guys have any questions with anything that was in the report?
What do you see are your biggest challenges for the next year? Or opportunities also?
I would say opportunities is just with, like I said, with the trails and water, I know they have a lot that they're trying to do, and we do have a lot of individuals that will come in specifically asking if there are trails and places they can go just to spend the day. Kayak rentals is another one. We have people that will want to go on the water, but they don't have their own equipment. I know Truby Run is out near Audra, but that's not always convenient if they're in town looking to do something that day. So I'd love to collaborate more with the Parks and Rec and then the groups who help coordinate on the river and the trails to get it more utilized and more visible for guests. And then I've been working with folks around here to try to get material I need that's updated to be able to promote accurately what we have here. So from photography to just write-ups, information on different places. It's been a slow process, but we're finally getting some traction there.
As the city representative on the CVB board, I want to mention too that the board has been very robust and very active with Lacey, and Lacey has in turn provided us with great management of our CVB, and I want to compliment you on that. Tabitha Perry is the president of that board this year from the county. John Walsh serves as the secretary.
Correct.
And Kathy
McMurray has moved up to VP. And then Ronna Dittman will be our new treasurer.
Right, Ronna Dittman. So we have a really good broad spectrum of people, and the entities are represented well that's part of the CVB. So I'm very optimistic about some of the opportunities that CVB is going to have in the future moving forward.
Yeah, we have a lot of great help from the board, a lot of good ideas, and they're not afraid to reach out, help, and promote as well. So we have an excellent board to support.
This brochure here, I think you need to add arts to this.
We can certainly do that.
I think it.
Add what?
Yeah, arts.
Arts.
Mm-hmm. We got the theater, we got our artisans, we got the, the 26201, got the infamous art gallery, all that, but I think arts need to be put on here.
That is an easy fix.
Okay.
Lacey, how would you describe the level of collegiality that you have with the other CVBs in our area, like Lewis County, Randolph County, Barber County? I guess it might be a struggle to get somebody from Pittsburgh to come down and just see Fiddler's Mill in Upshur County.
Right.
But if you had like the covered bridge and the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, and, I mean, is that something you work on these other folks with, or?
Yes, to a degree. Some are easier to communicate and work with and willing to collaborate than others. And I know everybody are busy and have a full plate, but
Right.
Lewis has been my closest ally as far as, one, just being a resource for me if I have questions on certain things and how they should go. She's been excellent with that. Elkins has been great to talk with, but it's not been as consistent as far as getting her looped in to some of it. And it may just be that she has a lot going on or her interest level. But the goal is to work, and I've had conversations today actually about that, of how we can create an itinerary that you're not going to have enough to do in any one place in most of West Virginia to occupy a week's worth of anything.
Right.
So how can we build something to where what's close by, work with those CDBs to say, hey, you know, we have these resources close by regardless of where you're staying. There's something all around us. And, you know, especially if you're a family, you may have diverse interests and not everybody wants to, you know, be at a resort or be in the river or go hiking. So how can we find something that they may prefer more the art side? I have one of those in my house that she would much rather do theater, arts, anything geared that way.
Sure.
And I have two others that want to be covered in dirt and in the water and, you know, just going in the woods and be out there all day. So it is vital that we're able to communicate and work with others, and I'm happy to work with those around us. Webster County just has their first CVB with a young executive there, so I'm excited to try to work with her to see like how we can do things going down between here and Holly River, Webster Springs,
Sure.
and make that a day trip too. So
That's great.
yeah, a lot of them do that, and I'm hopeful that I'll be able to build more relationships. And a lot of those are formed more easily when we go to the governor's conference, which will be in Charleston this year. It's just a nice way to network with those in that community. So slowly but surely building the relationships there so we can have those types of things.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Did you touch upon more weekend hours when we have events going on? Did you mention that? in your report?
I don't know if I did or not. So we do have a part-time helper. So when we have events going on in town, we do try to keep the office staffed either a little later in the evenings during the week, and then of course on the weekends when there are things going on. So Jennifer Ammons is who's been our part-time worker, and she's been phenomenal with that. She's great at covering the office. She has a wonderful personality, very warm and inviting when people come in. She's not hesitated to come in anytime we've needed her. So Strawberry Festival, she was there and helped with extended hours. Barbecue Bash, she was holding down the fort. I was on vacation for that one, so she gladly stepped in and covered that so that the doors were open while people were milling in town. So we are making an effort to try to have more availability if people are in town and coming through.
And that's an example of something that the CBB board had requested. You know, Lacey went to work and found the right person, the right fit to be able to be there, because obviously she only had so many hours a week that that we can afford to pay her, and she can be in there. But yeah, it's worked out well. So,
Yeah, she's been wonderful.
yeah.
That's great.
So if you happen to go in on a week and pop in and say hello and introduce yourself to Jennifer, she would love it. She's doing fantastic, and we're lucky to have her.
Is she from Buckhannon originally? or-
She is from Ohio, but they live in just across the county line in Lewis County. But she has taught in Upshur County. I think she said she's been a substitute teacher in most of the schools in the county at some point.
Her and her husband Wayne, they're longtime members of Chapel Hill.
Mhm.
What's the last?
Ammons.
Now, I don't know if he's from,
He's from Lewis County.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, they attend Chapel Hill. She's very involved there. She helps with all the events they have going on. So, and we work with her on that. So when they do their block party, she won't be in that Saturday. So if it comes down to where if there's things going on and we need to have it open for a few hours, then I can go in. We do a good job of kind of tag teaming that. But she does have some ties to the general area. So she does a great job.
Well, I think it's important, if Wesleyan had a homecoming, or,
Mhm.
you know, Buckhannon's homecoming, or, like you say, Barbecue Bash, that the CBB is open, And another thing that we've concentrated on is hotel usage, heads and beds. You know, Lacey's been very active coordinating with all the hotel management people to get a good study of how effective these special events are as far as actually booking rooms, which in turn funds the CVB because the city is generous by providing 70%, is that
Yeah,
right?
over
of
and
our
above what
hotel
the
motel?
requirement is, yeah,
And then the county provides
50,
funding from their hotel motel, which is a lot of Airbnb, so.
right. Yeah, and then with that, if there are events, if you guys know of things going on and you don't see it on my website or don't see it pushing out, please send them to me. I try to catch what I cannot see it all. You know, or if you have things coming up that you need assistance with or think that our office would help be a resource you could utilize, we're happy to be an extra set of hands if you ever need us for anything. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us for anything.
I think the train has decided that this report is complete, so.
No problem. Thank you, I appreciate your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you, take care.
Thank you, you too.
All right, we're headed to department reports. And my goodness, Jerry, you got younger and
Oh, boy, you're a brave soul. We are being recorded. We are on television.
So Jerry skipped out tonight, so you're stuck with me, but me.
better get used to it.
Sounds like it. For the department report as a whole, we had the AEDs placed that we purchased and went around to the meetings, or enterprise board meetings. They're at the sanitary water street and city hall, and I'm not sure if fire and police got theirs yet or not.
We have ours.
You have, okay, so everybody's got them. Street department, they have been working with the railroad to help with the railroad crossings on Camden and Railroad Avenue. They've been paving those, trying to make those transitions a little more smooth. They've been clearing some right-of-ways, particularly along North Florida Street there. And then they're anticipating the paving crews move to the park still for the pickleball and basketball courts after they finish up the last few things here, which should be next week. Don't hold me to that though. Waste has nothing new to report. Sewer, we completed the run, or the main run of the Island Avenue project towards Gate Street. It's now about 80% complete. We have about 100 feet of 18-inch line delay and the final road bore, and it will be done. I believe Water is planning on starting their main line this year. And then they're finishing up the installations of the SCADA systems at our pump stations. We're excited to get that, help monitor and reduce some of our issues at those stations. And then we started a small storm project on Meadow Street to help some of the drop inlets that have disintegrated. Water is continuing to work on the Mead Street replacement. They are starting to add some taps and connections to it. They're finishing up on some of the dam repairs, waiting to hear back from the company on the sluice gate that controls the water level. They haven't wanted to mess with it with as dry as it's been. I've discussed that some at water board today. And they continue working on the lead and copper surfaces, going around trying to get that done. Been working with the EPA on that. And continuing to move forward on the new water plant. They voted to approve the first, or review to approve the first task order today in water board. And for engineering, the Tenderton booster station is nearly complete. They're waiting for the pumps from environmental technology and for them to come in and set them up. The DOH TAP program, there's nothing new for the Morton Avenue sidewalk extension. ARPA, the sanitary collection system, had its final repair on the problem manhole. The warranty period started on that, and then I just received a little bit ago the final payment application, so it'll be closed out by next week. And then the CMH development on Vicksburg Road, The plans and specifications are nearing complete, then they will be submitted to the Public Health Department for approval. Before those, we receive the checks from the developer to purchase the materials, and they have been purchased. And I believe that's all that's new in Public Works.
Good report, and you know what was the best part about it? That was the most succinct report from engineering I think we've ever had. So, good job.
We'll try to keep that.
And we need rain,
We need rain.
because our worst 3 months are ahead of us, right?
Yeah, for water, for sewer, it's been very good, but depends who you ask.
Yeah, August, September, and October are the least rain we get.
Yeah, I think they're hoping for a little bit of rain. Didn't seem too concerned yet, but if it keeps being as
Some
dry
of
as
the
it's been.
forecast to, next week.
Yeah.
So,
Forecasts don't mean a thing. They've been telling us that for a month, we're gonna get rain here and there, we don't get it.
we'll put you on Channel 12. Thank you, Ethan.
Yep.
Nice
Thanks,
report.
thanks, Ish, have a good day.
Okay. Up next, we have Amby Jenkins, our finance director, who has several items on the agenda this evening.
Is it? I'm going to go ahead and start out with the balances for June that I usually give you. You know, our year ended June 30th, so that's why you have so many items on the agenda. In general fund and money market and checking, we ended the year with $1,527,000. The CD that we have is at $86,000. Historic landmark savings, $3,035. Stalker Youth Center Capital Campaign, $448,030, and then we have that standing pledge of $12,000. Coal tax, $53,186. Municipal Stabilization Fund, $924,000. Flood control, $78,000. Consolidated Public Works Board, $180,000, and then the cemetery CD is at $235,000. Sales tax, $1,213,000. American Rescue Plan, $408,000. The opioid account, $113,000. And then for your revenues and expenditures for the month of June, revenues were $203,000. Your expenditures were $473,000. Invoices worth pointing out that we paid in the year of June. You have a list of them in there, but the ones I want to point out to you are the $36,745 J.F. Allen for paving of Madison Street a lot, and then $4,080 to Ben Arisman for mowing of city lots. You do have some invoices coming up because of the fiscal year, this fiscal year. The contribution to the airport authority, we're going to write a check for $20,000. Consolidated Public Works Board, their half of this year's contribution is going to be $50,000. Country Roads Transit, $7,500. Again, these are half, except for airport, they ask for their entire contribution. $2,500 to the Health Department, $50,000 to the Sanitary Board Storm Sewer, $30,000 to UCDA, and $5,000 to Region 7's assessment fee. I think that number's wrong. $5,900. Other things to point out, Stockard activities are in your packet, 1,230 attendees throughout the month for various activities. The Colonial Arts Center has been active with VCT rehearsals, so the children's art classes, and then reminder that the Rustic Mechanicals will perform this Shakespeare play called The Tempest this Friday at 7 o'clock if you need to have some Shakespeare culture in your life. Show up at the Colonial. Do you want me to touch on any of the other items, or just wait till I get?
Yeah, let's go. Let's take care of, while we're talking about money, let's do the resolutions for the coal tax budget revision and then the general fund budget revision.
Okay. All right. So, Rob, what I usually do in the budget revision is give you a breakdown other than what the state requires, but I want you to know line by line what's happening in your budget. So in your packet, you're going to see the required documents for the state, and then you're going to see a breakdown of where those expenditures or revenues are at. General fund, of course, is the big one, and again, this is our first resolution or revision for the new year coming out of the old year. So good news, you came over with a carryover, really healthy carryover of $777,000. In that, what we did in expenditures to balance that out is I'm going to go down through the line items, so I'll skip the first one, contingency. I'll go back to that. So we looked at our budget from last year and saw that some items were going to go a little higher again this year, and some were minor. Mayor's office postage, we added $1,500 to that. Audit, we do have another single audit this year because we had over $750,000 in federal funding. So that requires a single audit. That's a more deeper look at our books when they do audits, so that costs a little more. So we added $2,500 to that. Zoning travel, we had to add $100. Police phones, $900. Insurance for the police department, $3,700. That was due to a lawsuit that we were paying some deductible on. And just in general, our insurance has gone up with the police department in the entire country just due to the police department's exposure to various items. Street department utilities, the gas bill that both waste and street department use, we had to add $20,000 of that. That gas bill's pretty high. The waste department hasn't been contributing to that because the trade of the property, that was kind of a give and take. So when the property at the waste collection was traded over to the public,
Guess your report's over. That's the rule.
I'm done. So when the property was traded that the waste collection garage had to the safety complex, there was no money exchange, so we're picking up a gas bill there. Street auto supplies, $10,000. Street department capital. One thing that Jerry and Brad had mentioned is they got a deal on some crowd fencing. That's like event fencing, temporary fencing that you could put like around Jawbone. $10,400, so I built that in the budget. Street lights, the $3,000 we had to add to that. I put $47,000 more in street paving. I'll explain that when I get back up to contingencies. And then one thing I didn't, the floor for the current gym floor for the Stockard Youth Building, they're taking up donations and doing some campaign on that, and it's about $30,000. So we're going to get $30,000 in donations, and expense of about $30,000 for the floor and painting of the gym. Okay, I'm going to jump back up to contingency. So contingency is a line item that council can direct how they want to spend that. The flavor that I understood council had from our budget that we built this year is that they wanted to put more into street capital expenses and infrastructure. So to be part of that, rather than me just arbitrarily putting it in there without having, Jerry and Brad having conversations with council on what projects they wanted to do, it's in contingency and it's basically earmarked for those things and nothing else, unless council wants it for something else. So $678,000 is in that contingency to go towards infrastructure projects. I couldn't put any more than 10% of our budget in there, so that's why I put some down in paving, because I know that Jerry had said we needed about $400,000 in paving. So I just went ahead and put that $47,000 in there so you'd have that 10% up there in contingency. Then coal tax, we have to, by law, these two budget revisions have to be done at the beginning of the year to match whatever you come over with a balance on hand. Coal tax came over with a carryover of an extra 52,186, and of course, that just goes right to street materials because that's where we budget things at for pool tax. It goes to the street department. So that 52,000 can go towards anything for the street department. Any questions?
But these are separate.
Two separate resolutions and two separate budget revisions. So you'll have to vote on each one of those separately.
I did ask Jerry and to send me a copy to remind me of those street projects that he had given priority to that needed done, so probably should send that out to all council members too. And maybe, Mayor, if we could just get Jerry to revisit that with us and start making the priorities, and I'm sure you got some priorities.
I mean, yeah, we know we already have, it will be in the works this fiscal year, is a streetscape project on Ritchie Street, from Tucker Street to Fayette Street. It'll be widened, there'll be a new sidewalk put through there, and then it'll be designated parking where there isn't any, and there's some line of sight issues at the corner of Ritchie and Tucker, which you pointed out, which was part of the reason why we selected that. And there's also a streetscape project planned for Buckhannon Street to the south of Marion. Similar, we've got some ADA sidewalk issues in the south part of town where you have big ridges in sidewalks that can't take place. So those two are for sure, they've already been approved through a budget process, but if we want to do more, then yeah, we would need to bring in Jerry and have a sit down. Anything. Yeah.
I thought we already had a prioritized list from Jerry. Didn't he give us one, Ethan?
So they drove the streets, they contracted it out a couple of years ago and did a pavement assessment on it. And they based it off the life of the street. And that was how they prioritized it.
Rager Avenue is one that needs a resurface. Upper Randolph needs resurfaced. We've got Upper and Lower Drive that are on that list too. I'm trying to recall the ones that didn't score very well. Wood Street.
Well, it's kind of like when we did the ARPA funds, I'm thinking, there may be some that there's no way we could handle those right now, but others who were a little bit lower on priority might be able to be handled, in the construction season.
South Canal Street is another one that will be redone from the Triangle to Main Street. It's bad. And that was always going to happen because if you recall, we brought in the sidewalk and added period lighting down through there. So now we need to resurface. Water collects on the west side of South Canal Street near the Canal Lounge parking lot. Of course, we haven't seen that for a while. But when we do get a hard rain, that does happen now because of the sidewalk rework. And just to remind everybody, the city of Buckhannon is not doing the paving project on Main Street. That is the State Department of Highways. Main Street is a state highway west of City Hall and all the way to Buckhannon Mountain. So
It would be fair to say, Amby, this is a blessing, this is an anomaly to some degree.
Oh,
We
yes,
shouldn't
I'm
count on
glad
this
you-
every year.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, the reason we have that large balance coming over, a few things. We didn't do anything as far as large payments for the stalker. That was budgeted in there, so we didn't have that happen. There was about 100,000 that we didn't have in paving and street projects. And then we collected much more in contractors B&O, about 250,000 more than we had budgeted. And then we had that FEMA money that came in. So that was last year. We had made the expenditures the prior year, but the funds for that came in this year. And so that we had to adjust the budget for that. So we still had some of that in there as well. Yeah, so we didn't spend things, and then we received more than we thought we were going to receive.
Andy, with a significant increase in CD rates this past year, what was the total impact in regard to enhancing our revenue base?
I'm
Have you
renewing
looked at
CDs every.
that, or are you gonna review that?
I haven't got all your totals yet. I know you've gotten just in sales tax,
Mhm.
20,000 since January in interest.
Well, I'll bet it's a fairly significant amount of money.
It's, yeah, I have to move them around a lot because now the CDs are like 7 months, 9 months to get the better rate.
Yep.
And Amby's fierce. We-
Yeah.
All right, so Amby has gone over 2 resolutions with us. The coal tax budget revision, which is number 1, and then the general fund budget revision, number 1, which is required that we must do at the beginning of each fiscal year. We'll treat these one by one. Under F1, is there a motion to approve
Move.
Resolution 24-07? We have a motion from Mr. Thomas, a second by Mr. McCauley. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Mr. Sanders, I'll defer to you for the roll call.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mrs. Zuliani. Yes. Mrs. Buckley,
Yes.
Mr. McCauley,
Yes.
Mr. Rigger,
Yes.
Mr. Skinner,
Yes.
Mr. Sanders votes yes.
All right, thank you, sir. That motion for the resolution passes unanimously. F2, approval of resolution 24-08. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Motion by Rigger, second by Thomas. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Like sign opposed. That motion carries appearing unanimously, but we will defer to Mr. Sanders for the roll call.
All right, sir. Once again, Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Zuliani. Yes. Mrs. Buckley,
Yes.
Mr. McCauley,
Yes.
Mr. Rigger,
Yes.
Mr. Skinner,
Yes,
and Mr. Sanders votes yes, so it is unanimous.
thank you. You want to keep going while you're,
Want to stand up?
yeah.
Okay, F3, approval authorization of either me or Recorder Sanders to sign the renewal loan for the Fiore concrete mixer at First Community Bank. As you are aware, we have non-appropriation clauses in all of our leases. Councils cannot commit for an entire life of a lease. It has to be on every year, and it's time to renew that lease, the annual lease, so.
So moved.
Second.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, let me entertain that.
Yeah.
This has to do with
First Community Bank.
You know, so as presented by Amby, approval authorization finance, as she said, for either Director Jenkins or myself to sign a renewal loan at First Community Bank. Now, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Rigger and Bucklew. And with Mr. Skinner abstaining, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries, and it is noted that Mr. Skinner abstained.
Thank you.
He recuses himself, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Are you F4 too? You a cycle?
Can be.
We've had some conversation, or you've had some conversation back and forth with Pete.
Yes, so this is the ongoing, it's to execute the USI agreement for insurance consulting. Pete Thaxton is a gentleman that comes in, and he's actually who introduced PEIA to us, which saved us thousands and thousands of dollars. So he consults on the insurance. He comes in here every month or two and meets with any employees about insurance concerns they have. He's also another caveat that he does, it's been very helpful. If we have insurance companies come to us to present something for our employees, it's wonderful to have an insurance agent who can look at that and say, you already are carrying this. Why would you add more and more onto this for your employees, and then have all of these dozens of insurance plans so that's what he does. He helps us with consulting on the insurance.
He saves us tens of thousands of dollars.
Thousands and thousands, yes, he did. That was a good move. So that's the renewal. It's again, a renewal of an annual service that they provide us.
Our employees, I know, really appreciate having somebody come and, give them FaceTime, and I think it's been a good investment. since we have switched to PEIA, I have received next to no complaints about our health insurance coverage and what, and having the benefits explained to our employees. So I think we'd be foolish not to renew this again.
He's
So
really good about getting ahead of it and letting us know legislations that's getting ready to change or increases that are ahead of time. So he keeps me up to date.
and he lives in Huntington. I mean, it's not exactly next door, and he never misses coming up here. So, is there a motion to approve the renewal contract with Mr. Paxton? Mr. Thomas first, and second Mr. Sanders. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
A like sign opposed, motion carries. The audit committee, I thought I had it in my list here, but I don't see it. So the previous audit committees have been you, Barb,
It was me, Dave Thomas, and Nancy Show.
and Nancy Show. But I thought Barb wasn't on it.
You can certainly put her on that, because you can have, or you have to have at least 3,
At least 3.
and we have
Okay.
to score them.
Since
the
Barb
state
has been
department-
such a big part here in the past year, I would like to add Barb to that list.
So the list,
Mr. Thomas, are you willing to serve on that again?
Sure.
so is Thomas.
I should ask Barb, are you willing to serve on that? Okay.
So
Amy doesn't have a choice.
Thomas Skinner,
No,
Jenkins.
not Skinner.
Okay, Jenkins.
Yeah.
Who else? Thomas, Jenkins,
Show,
Barb Helmick.
Nancy Show did it before
And
too.
then-
That's just to help select an auditor out of the ones that show interest in.
That's fine. Is there a motion to approve that audit committee?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by McCauley, second by Bucklew. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion carries with Mr. Thomas's abstention.
I think that's it for me.
Thanks,
Okay.
Abby.
We just got right down through that list. Thank you, Amby.
Yeah.
Fire chief and police chief are wondering if they're going to be called on this evening, so. Up first is Mr. Kimball.
Matt and I have a bet who can be the quickest.
Good, I like those bets.
So, good evening, everybody. In your packet is our year-to-date through June, and also the June activity itself. We're averaging about 90 incidents a month. We're training out at the training facility. If you haven't been out there, please go out and look at the stacked boxes. We're going to start cutting doors and windows out real soon. We're going to try to do as much as we can ourselves before we try to get a contractor to come in and finish up the product and do the stuff that's beyond what the fire department can do. I'd like to report that our 2 junior members that we sponsored to go to the Fire Academy Junior Camp completed it. They really enjoyed it. They're coming by the firehouse. Actually, the volunteer meeting's tonight. I'm gonna try to get back down there. I think we're getting ready to put a junior firefighter coordinator into the volunteer fire department, because we're hoping with these 2 young men joining and going back to the high school and talking about what they've been doing, that we may get a few more interested. And I've always said it's good for us because our youth are getting involved with us, but most of our youth, we all know, leave here to go to college. But if it can help some other community, that's fine. We want to get engaged with our youth, make them have a good time, have a good product that we produce to them. So if they do go into the field of emergency services, they have a good base to start with. So I'm proud to say that Marcus Miller, our least tenured firefighter, has completed his probationary period, and actually he got his notification today. He is an EMT now, so that is a job requirement. So that's a big positive, that we don't have to worry about that anymore. So I'm very proud of him. He worked hard, as all of them do whenever we go through that process. Also in your packet, if you look, there's a couple things that look like this. This is, if you remember the Battalion 1 consultants that came in here for our mental wellness program, this is a class. Actually, there's a leadership survey that if any of you want to hit the QR code, you can take. But there's also class Influence Unleashed is a leadership mentoring and coaching course. Who should attend? Fire department, emergency medical personnel, dispatchers, law enforcement, crisis intervention personnel, mutual aid partners, municipality leaders, and community leaders. And this is basically a course to help us become mentors, coaching people, coaches, and mentors to the people we oversee. You know, this is going to be a big process in our mental wellness program. As we all know, the incident happened in Elkins a couple weeks ago. I've spoken to Mayor Marco of Elkins since then. They're going to be well involved in this because this is the foundation of creating a good mental wellness program for all our employees, not just fire and police. And I presented this at our supervisors meeting yesterday. You know, fire and police are a little bit different because not only do we deal with your normal family issues, whether it be, you know, marital problems, financial problems, drinking problems, but we also deal with everybody else's problems, you know, with the police and fire department. But still, our employees, we need to be looking out for them. You know, whether they drive a garbage truck, whether they work for the water department, they still have problems. And I think the city, with 100 employees, we should start looking at programs to assist our employees. So that being said, this is the start of the foundation of doing that. And I think the amount of education that I've put on myself in the last couple of years, I go places and I'm like, there's problems. You see it. You see those red flags, but I'm not in that organization to help unless they want me to help them. So if you can make this is an 8-hour course. It's over at the Jacksonville Fire Academy. It'd be great to see, you know, like I always say, it always starts at the top. And if we have a good presence of our administration, our employees will be proud that we're there to look after them. So July 20th, the Fire Academy is over Jackson's Mill. If you don't know where it is, you go into Jackson's Mill, make a left, and it's obviously the biggest building in Jackson's Mill. So that being said, unless y'all have any questions.
Has our new hire started yet?
No, the young man still has his pre-employment psych eval to go to next Monday, but everything else has been very positive. So basically, we're waiting on that. He had talked to me 2 weeks ago. They have a family vacation scheduled at the end of the month. So we'll probably be doing a presentation at our first council meeting in August for him, for Marcus to get off probation and become a full-fledged firefighter. And I'd also like to bring our junior members up so y'all can be familiar with them. So
I talked to JB this week about we are going to deal with the first due sometime in the near future. And we had a good conversation, and I think it's something that we all need to look forward to and support. Right?
yes, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
I'm headed to the next meeting like you all.
Hey, have a good time.
You see,
Tell me if you win or lose.
I was gonna say, we didn't time him, but beat him.
how you doing,
I
Matt?
think it's 8 minutes. I think it's 8 minutes.
Don't tell Matt that because he thinks he's gotta beat 540, so that's what we'll just.
5 minutes and 40 seconds?
Yeah. Hi, Matt.
Hi,
How you doing, Matt?
good, you?
Great.
Great. A few things to report on. A lot of moving parts of the police department this summer. With Kalia, we are wrapping up our year 3 of our reaccreditation cycle. Reaccreditation is a 4-year process with Kalia. Our year 3 web assessment will wrap up year 3 of this cycle, and that will occur between August 2nd and August 10th. I've already been in contact with our assessor for this process. It is a gentleman by the name of William Carter, who is a compliance service member with Kalia. He is a retired officer from the North Carolina Bureau of Criminal Investigation, as well as a former police chief just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. So we've already talked about the assessment itself, and I've already received a spreadsheet of the specific standards that he will be reviewing. As part of this, our SIMMERS report, SIMMER stands for the CALIA Information Management Reporting System. That is due to CALIA this week. So I've been preparing that, and we'll be uploading that tomorrow to the Power DMS. Simmers focuses not only on the quantitative side, on statistics ranging and everything from our activities with the police department, our uses of force, pursuits, but it also looks at the qualitative side of the assessment through the agency status report. And so once that's complete, I'll have a copy of that for council at the next meeting to report on the year 3 web assessment. The police department is currently partnering with West Virginia Wesleyan College as we craft an MOU between our organizations. This is to satisfy the requirements that Wesleyan has with the Department of Education. Once this document is finalized, will be presented to council for your review and approval as we move forward with that. The police department will be hosting a stigma class on July 23rd at the Public Safety Building. This class is co-hosted by Community Care, Harmony Ridge, West Virginia Prevention Solutions, and St. Joseph's Hospital. The class focuses on primarily bringing law enforcement officers in and focusing on issues as it relates to substance abuse and learning about the various issues and best practices and policies as it relates to that. As an extension of that, of course, as you're aware, we do have a peer liaison program that I believe has really hit the ground running with our community. It's been in place now since April, and this is through our partnership with First Choice Services based out of Charleston. On July 30th, I was asked to be a part of a panel at the West Virginia CIT Summit. CIT stands for Crisis Intervention Team, which focuses on responses to mental health emergencies as well as substance abuse issues. The particular panel that I'll be sitting on in Charleston focuses on community partnerships, and specifically I'll be talking about our peer liaison program and entertaining questions from the participants. And then finally on August 7th, the police department will be hosting a tabletop exercise. This will be in compliance with our CALEA requirements, our time-sensitive requirements with CALEA. It'll focus on planning and critical event issues, as well as our COOP plan, our Continuity of Operations plan. And Mayor, that's all I have unless there's questions.
Any questions for our very quick chief?
Are you doing national night out this year?
I'm sorry?
Are you doing national night?
We unfortunately are not. No, we talked to our partners, and just with all the moving parts, it's not going to come together this year. So.
Matt, I saw a piece on the news, maybe before last, Mike Kaufman and the public safety director for the county were over at the Lewis County Airport. They got a grant to do the defensive driving thing, and I guess they took all the vehicles over. Did we partner with them to do anything like that? Were we asked to participate, or?
We were not, no.
Okay. And Matt, we do our own defensive.
Yeah, I mean, typically, not to that degree, but typically, and again, with the CALEA standards, and it's typically in the fall, and I run them in conjunction just out of convenience. We have a session generally in October where we focus on not only our biennial requalification with our firearms, but we also focus on use of force policies, retraining on that, and again, as an extension of that, that includes the post-pursuit policies and the roadblock policies that we have pursuant to CALEA. Part of that also is hands-on. One of our authorized stopping techniques is stop sticks, and so we have a hands-on course where we utilize that, and we've set up, and again, that's compliant with CALEA requirements.
Thank you.
You had a question?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
How long?
Didn't find him either.
5:41.
Mr. O'Neill.
Have a good weekend, man.
You too.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Welcome to new Councilor Zuliani. I'm glad to be with you tonight. Want to update the council on a couple of matters that we've been discussing in the past. First up, the Wesleyan College property exchange for the walk trail. I've been experiencing some frustration over the length of time it has taken to get our survey back of that property so we can proceed. I did speak with Dale Bennett this week, and he did commit that he would have that complete within, he said, a couple of weeks. I'm going to interpret that as being the end of this month, and I'm going to tell him that that's the expectation, that at the end of this month. Therefore, I've reached out to Wesleyan's attorney to kind of make sure that they are ready to prepare the deed, because that's going to be they're conveying that property to us, so their attorney will prepare that deed just as soon as the survey's in hand. And then the council, obviously the other side of that, the transaction is for the council to vacate the alleys that were agreed to in the memorandum of understanding. I expect soon, assuming that commitments hold, that you'll be able to have an ordinance prepared for those for first reading for vacating those alleys at the next meeting, the first meeting in August. I've received a proposal from American Legal Publishing regarding revisiting, codifying our municipal ordinances. I received that proposal. I'll distribute it to members of the council for you all to consider it. That would include hosting the online version and updating that online version anytime we, or the council, I should say, that you adopt a new ordinance. The base quote was $15,400, which is about what I kind of expected it to be, given that there's already a lot of work that had been done previously, about 10 years ago or so. They really just need to take the ordinances that were enacted over the previous 10 years and kind of upload this in the system. They also have a service where they will do they'll do comparison to state law, make sure that there's nothing state law related that we need to be considered. It seems like a very kind of thorough service, and that'll be, it's entirely within your prerogative to say, no, you're not interested in this project, but we'll, with the mayor's approval, I'll have it put on the agenda for the next meeting. We'll talk about it a little bit more in depth, and then you can make a decision as to whether or not you want to move forward.
Well, the whole key to this, sorry to interrupt, but the whole key to this would be to simplify matters as we draft new ordinances, instead of saying ordinance 308, 309, 410, 415, 420, it would be section .05.
Yeah. As the city becomes more sophisticated over time, just as a natural kind of evolution, what we're finding is that when we have to amend an ordinance, we're having to amend several old ordinances, and it's just becoming kind of burdensome in the drafting, and I think it may be a little bit difficult to follow for people that are kind of lay people when it comes to the law. So I think this project is about kind of transparency, promoting transparency and public engagement with our kind of municipal laws that you all enact and are responsible for here. Again, I'll circulate that proposal to council, talk with the mayor about having it on an agenda maybe for the next meeting in August or the following meeting, whatever your pleasure is, and we can talk about this a little bit more in depth. But that information is now in hand, and then it'll be up to the council to decide whether and how to move forward. I'll also be attending the Planning Commission meeting on Monday to talk about the Airbnb issue that has received some attention in the last couple of months. My opinion has not changed, that state law prohibits the city from prohibiting Airbnbs through zoning, but that Airbnbs can be regulated as any other property. So, for instance, R1 zone at present has a limit of 2 boarders or roomers in a property. That's a lot-based distinction within the R1 zone. That would apply to anyone who wanted to use their property for an Airbnb. So nobody could have, for instance, and this is legally permissible under the state law at issue, that you could have an Airbnb, but you'd be limited to 2 guests within the R1 zone. Again, outside of the R1 zone, we do not have those kinds of restrictions in the zoning ordinance. Other than that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
The property on College Avenue that's in a continuance,
Yes.
when is that going to be?
That is in the hands of Judge Rieger.
Well, does he understand that we need to move on this?
When we had our hearing a couple months ago, it was clear to me at that point that the judge understands that this is an important matter for the city, that we want to get it resolved, and the city needs to be able to enforce its zoning ordinances fairly and equitably across the city. The nature of the appeal that this property owner is making is she is alleging that she's being treated differently. So the judge is going to give her the opportunity before the zoning board of appeals to make that case. And then we'll go back to the circuit court to kind of follow up from there. But we really can't do anything. The zoning board of appeals can't do anything until the judge issues the order that came out of our last hearing, which
Some of the
I
rumors
sent.
out there, Tom, is that she was, she's a female, so she was discriminated against. Have
Well,
you-
that was one of her. That was an allegation that she had made in her initial complaint that's since been amended. So I don't think that she's alleging that now. What she is alleging is that she's being treated differently. She's not necessarily saying that it's because of her sex. It's just that the zoning board of appeals is acting in an inconsistent manner based on other similarly situated properties, and that's going to have to, that's a question of fact that's going to have to eventually be kind of hashed out by the circuit court.
I mean, I think we need to move on that.
Well, it's in the hands of the circuit court. I don't know that we should be discussing it
Okay.
like we are in an open forum. We need to let the court process.
But
which
the judge asked me to prepare an order. I prepared the order. I submitted it to his clerk.
We've done our part.
The ball is not in our court right now.
Yeah.
Well, that has tremendous impact.
I agree fully.
Tom, I have a question on the Airbnb issue. And there's an old saying, cliche as it is, that money talks. The legislation that was amended by the state legislature, 2019, 2020, been 4 or 5 years ago, could we be compromising our opportunity to impose the 1% sales tax if we don't follow that?
No, I do not believe. I know where you're coming from with that question. The operative language in the code is in the home rule section of code.
Yes.
However, it's a subsection of that code. However, based on the language of the text of that subsection and the opinion of other cities that I've reached out to and all the research that I can find, is that that mandate is unrelated to home rule, even though it is in the municipal home rule section, because the way the legislature wrote the text, I think the answer to answer your question directly, I think no, I don't think we're at any risk of losing our 1% sales tax if we don't comply, but it still remains a mandate on the city to refrain from prohibiting them.
So even though it's in the Home Rule Act, would other municipalities who have not become a home rule city, and there are still many out there, would they still be required to abide by that language?
Yes. The way I read that subsection, and we can bring out at a future meeting if you like, or talk about it all, but when you look at the subsection, I think it's subsection B or C of that subsection, it applies to every municipality and state whether or not they are participating in home rule, in my opinion.
Okay.
And you're just, I'm coming in at the end of this, you're saying R1 zoning or ruling it maxes 2 people regardless of size or rooms or?
You cannot have more
than 2.
You cannot have more than 2 roomers or boarders underneath the zoning ordinance in an R1 zone. I feel that would apply if somebody wants to use their home as an Airbnb. That would still apply to them. That the state prohibition on banning Airbnbs, banning short-term rentals, does not apply to that kind of general restriction within the zoning ordinance, because it applies to every property, whether or not it's being used as a short-term rental.
Would it be incumbent upon us to modify our zoning ordinance, given,
I don't think, my guidance to the planning commission is going to be that the city really doesn't need to take any action whatsoever in order to be in compliance. It just needs to, the zoning officer just can't deny the application because it is going to be a short-term rental.
yeah, thank you.
All right.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, Mr. Neal.
Sure.
Okay, correspondence and information, as just was noted, all are invited to attend the planning commission meeting on Monday night,
What time is it?
7 p.m. here. We have the report of the cat and dog activity from the commission in May. We have a building code clarification program document. It's right after the cat and dog activity. It's a checklist. It's kind of relative to the building inspector's position. We have a FOIA request from Smith Law of Clarksburg about Mudlick Road Transfer Station activity. And then we have a FEMA project withdrawal of Swift Current application from Jay. Okay, that is correspondence. Under the consent agenda, we need to break this out from Mr. Rigger. I'd entertain a motion that we approve E1, which includes the minutes from 6/6, 6/18, a special meeting on 6/18, and then 6/27, and then also the approval of the payment of our bills. So that would be E3. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved. Second.
Motion by McCauley, second by Rigger. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, that motion carries unanimously. Now E2, which will be the approval of our building and wiring permits, noting Mr. Rigger's abstention. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Thomas, second by Bucklew. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Like sign opposed, that motion carries. And Mr. Sanders can notate Mr. Rigger's abstention. Okay, we're down to strategic issues for discussion and or vote. We are through 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So, council, as you know, we've been going down this road quite a bit recently, but we need to recommend to the Police Civil Service Commission to begin the process for advertising for probationary police officer candidates to replenish our eligibility list for hiring consideration. Is there a motion to make that recommendation?
So moved.
Motion by Thomas, is there a second?
Second.
Second by McCauley. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, that motion carries unanimously. Okay, good thing I took a, wet my whistle here.
I'm sorry, Barry, we do number F5?
Yep, we did that.
Okay.
This is the approval, I'm asking for approval for the appointment list. I have most of it done. There's, as I noted earlier, we're not doing Stockert tonight because I need to talk to Tom O'Neill about a couple things. Okay. I will mention to you that there are not many changes on this list. I have been able to successfully renew just about everyone. There are a couple of changes. Do you want me to read through the entire thing, or do you want me to note the
I
changes?
think note to change.
Changes is fine.
Changes is fine.
That makes sense.
If I promise I'm not pulling the wool over your eyes, because you'll get this once it's all cleaned up anyway. So, all of our directors remain intact with the addition of Ethan Croston. So our Public Works Director reads Jerry Arnold and Ethan Croston with an asterisk as he shadows him, and then will eventually take over as the full Public Works Director. I note on his on the sanitary department, he remains the superintendent while serving or while shadowing Jerry. I did add here Matula Hartley as our Colonial Arts Center manager and our Event Center at Brushy Fork manager. Added her to the list. Water Board, there are no changes. Don Nestor is renewed. Council members remain, and as does Raz, whose term is not up. The Waste Board, there is a change. I appreciate Council Lady Bucklew is going to be moving from Consolidated Public Works Board to Waste Board to serve with myself and Scott Randall. I will note that I remain the chair of all of these by charter, and then Mr. Sanders remains on all of these as a non-voting member as city recorder. So thank you, Mrs. Bucklew. There are no changes on sanitary board. Mitch Shaw agreed to be renewed. He actually was filling an unexpired term. So that he is officially in a 3-year term now. Consolidated Public Works Board, we do have one change, and that was from Council Lady Bucklew taking Waste Board, where C.J. Rylands did not seek re-election. Rob Zuliani will be taking a position on the Consolidated Public Works Board to join Mr. Rigger, Mrs. Shobe, whose term is not up, and Mr. Waldo, who has been renewed. Okay, Police Civil Service Commission, we have renewed Mr. Mark Spencer. There are no changes. Fire Civil Service Commission. This, we had a resignation late in the game by Mr. Bob Parker. These both are the only two that we have that are specific to your political party registration. It's a pain, as we all know, because of where we live. It's hard to find a D. So we need to. I've reached out to a few, but it's very difficult to find a Democrat. But we can also use a independent. We already have 2 Republicans on there. So the one that I really was thinking about is a registered Republican. So we can't use him. So if you have any ideas, please communicate those with me privately, and I will reach out. This is the Fire Civil Service Commission. Again, this is due to a late in the game resignation. His term is not up, but he resigned just a week and a half ago.
And you want a Democrat?
We have to, or an independent. We have to.
I got 3 or 4 people.
Okay,
Sure.
we'll talk. Zoning Board of Appeals, there is no change. Mr. Everett is renewed. On the Historic Landmarks Commission, there are no changes. Both Mr. Green, Danny Green, was serving an unexpired term. He was appointed in December. He will be renewed into a full 2-year term. And then Diane Corley is being renewed as well. There are no changes on Housing Enforcement Board because those are not termed, and that does include the Dilapidated Structures Scoring Committee. That does not change either.
There's a meeting with that.
They're Monday at 5:30 before the planning planning commission. Planning commission. Okay, we have renewed Jenny. I call her Jenny Burnside. That's who she was in high school with me. But she's Jenny Croafe is her married name. And then Curtis Wilkerson and Susan Alloy. We are adding Rob Zuliani, whereas C.J. Rylands held that seat. And then I have J.J. Ford will be joining the Planning Commission for a term. So we're excited about that. I have reached out to one other because we had another late in the game resignation. Kelly Tierney resigned 2 weeks ago. Her term was not up. So I have reached out to an individual, and I'm just waiting to hear back. I think they would be a really good fit. And they join Steve Nanners, Tom Lynch, our zoning officer, and then our city recorder. There is no change in Animal Care and Control Commission. The Colonial Arts Center Board, we had another late in the game resignation from Keith Buckhannon. I was sad to see that because Keith did add a lot to the Colonial Arts Center Board. I discussed with Mr. Sanders some potentials. I have reached out to a husband-wife team. Either one would be a good fit because they are involved in the arts here in the community, not the performing arts, but the showing arts, like photography, paintings, things like that. So waiting to hear back from them. Either one, again, would be fine, and I think it would help us to bridge a gap that we have amongst our arts. You know, we have a bunch of arts organizations, and some of them aren't always as connected as they should be. There is no change in the Parks and Recreation Board. They are working well together.
Hey, Debbie's leaving.
I know, but as of right now, I don't have a resignation,
Okay.
so I am
Right.
going. I'll
Okay.
I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Brett Miller, as far as the Charles Gibson Library, will be renewed. Otherwise, there are no changes. Let's see here. Housing, nothing else has any changes. Housing Housing Authority, not Housing Enforcement, Housing Authority. Kitten Lee, they sent a letter requesting for her to be renewed, so that's an easy one. I said, of course, we have somebody that wants to serve, we'll let them. Television Cable Board, that doesn't meet. It really is only
Once every 5 years?
yeah, only when we have to renew our franchise agreement. So we only had one person, and whether if they want to serve still, it's fine. But I mean, they're by the time we do this again, their term will be up. So I didn't even really bother with it.
I'll do it.
All right. Well, we never have anybody say that they'll do that one. So
If you don't mean, I'll do it.
the municipal building, for no meetings, I know why you'll do it. Municipal Building Commission, we still have the same members, and none of them are termed out. They term out in 27, and of course we'll be utilizing them here in the near future. Oh, one thing, and Dave Thomas, I know I owe you a phone call, and I'm sorry I have to get to you, but I've been drinking from a fire hose this week. At the bank, so I did get some feedback, which I knew this, but I'd forgotten because of my previous position with the Development Authority. I couldn't be my own boss as a board member and the executive director at the same time, so we appointed you as a council representative, but the bylaws of the Economic Development Authority specifically state that the mayor shall serve.
Okay.
So if it's okay with you, I'm going to resume my seat on the board, an executive board. You're more than welcome to come to the meetings if you want. I can pick you up, but I'll be the voting member.
I'm not going to relinquish my vote, so you'll have to figure something out.
Okay, we'll flip a coin for it.
I'm teasing. No, I understood that was going to happen.
So, okay, so I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that one.
Yeah.
Okay, no change, the Armory managerial, it's still, we don't even really do anything with it, but it's Amby. Probably we should add you, maybe even Matula, to the Armory managerial committee. I don't even know.
I just leave it to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
you talk to him, and so does Matula, so. Randy's the Chamber of Commerce rep, no change there. Upshur County Senior Citizen Board, Mr. Rigger agreed to go there because we flipped him out of historic landmarks and put Pam into historic landmarks, so that remains the same. Council committees, finance, ordinance, both of those are all members of council. Health is the mayor, council member, and Dave Thomas, which I'm not sure why you're not listed as a council member, but you're listed by name and then a council member. So we haven't, ever since COVID, we haven't really had a need for that one to meet. Fire and police include all members of city council. We did the audit committee this evening. Revenue and Expense Review Committee remains Mr. Rigger, Mr. Thomas, Amby Jenkins, Barb Hinkle, Scott Randall, and myself as mayor. That way we have all of the enterprise boards included in that as well. The opioid settlement funds, which we probably do need to call a meeting of that sometime because we do have some money. We've had a couple of requests. It's just been, we've had a lot going on here recently. It is everybody I just mentioned on the Revenue and Expense Review Committee, plus Tom O'Neill and Matt Gregory. And then we also have our West Virginia First Foundation representative is Tom O'Neill. That's the regional thing that we are a part of for the north central part of the state. I think we're in Region 4. Is that what our number is? I don't even know. But we're the largest geographic region. It's basically the WBOY TV market.
I spoke with the individual who's the head of that. They are not going to be having like regular meetings, but I'll be the liaison with that group. But
Yeah.
I don't know how active they're going to be. There was some change that came out of the Attorney General's office. They were going to meet like monthly or something. It was going to be a big, and it got kind of blown up.
It's been a wild time because it's all brand new. We're trying to figure out how to move forward. So, but Tom is our representative, and I think it's really important that we have an attorney representing us there. And then, of course, CALEA Policy Review is police, and that includes our fire chief, police chief, our Lieutenant Doug Loudon, myself. I didn't even look at this. I gotta replace CJ, my bad. So who from council would like to serve on that?
Which one is it?
This is the Kalia, this one skipped me.
I'd be happy to serve.
You want to serve on that? All right, we'll add Mr. McCauley on there. And then they join Jeff Harvey, Amby Jenkins, city attorney, and Randy Sanders. Technology is Jay, Jerry, Amby, Phil, Dwayne Squires, Seth Hoffman, Randy Sanders. We need to get that together because, and that also includes Emil Butcher, that we need to get that together because, as you know, we really do have some technology issues that we need to, take care of, address here at City Hall. We actually, just for council's knowledge, we engaged with Raven Rock years ago. Raven Rock doesn't actually exist anymore. Joe Hughes bought out that portion and it's under Lynx. So we don't have an active contract for our IT services from a vendor. So I do think it's, again, we've had a lot going on, but we do need to get together and have the technology committee refer to council to put out for bid a spec sheet for our technology services so that we engage with a contract.
That's correct.
I would recommend too that we not close the door on considering an IT person.
Well, the technology committee
Yeah,
can.
I think that's one thing because it's so quick, it moves so fast. So fast that it's a day-to-day type thing to have somebody who is dedicated to that instead of just putting out for a work order.
Right.
So, anyway, but you're right, that's a board. or a meeting.
Could we also sign you up for fire, see the accreditation?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be glad to.
Since
serve.
CJ held both of those, that just slipped me, so,
Well, when Rich Clemens was here, that was very, very helpful.
yeah. And we need to have them, and these committees don't meet regularly, they meet kind of as needed, but I think technology is a need and we've talked, Amby, myself, Mr. Sanders, we've talked about this and we need to satisfy some things here. Other than that, you all know who you are, council members and city recorder and mayor, so that's the list. Again, we still have like one or two holes to fill, and then I'll have my ideas hopefully complete for Stockert for our next meeting. So that's what we have. Would you do me the favor of approving what you heard tonight, excluding the appointments for the Stockard Youth and Community Center Board?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Sanders and a second by Mr. Thomas. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The like sign opposed. That motion carries unanimously. All right. I'll give that to Teresa. She already knows most of this. So, okay, we're down to comments and announcements, and we will begin over here to the left.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I just got an email
Uh-oh.
with some
Breaking
exciting
news.
No, this is good stuff. And I want to share it too because this is important. Y'all are important to me. And so yesterday, I participated in an audition for Jeopardy, the TV show Jeopardy.
Oh, wow.
And I just got an email that invited me to the final part of the audition process.
Excellent.
And that tests whether I can work the buzzer or not, I guess. Because I've done this before. I did this about 10 years ago, once before. And so, I don't know, I'm just really excited about it.
Great.
Well, that's congratulations.
If I win some money, I will donate some of it to the Stockard Project.
Wow, we got that on record. Can you wear a Zool shirt when you're on?
Maybe. I just might.
You need to tell us in the form of a question.
So what we need you to do is like when Aunt B went to be on TV up in Raleigh, we need you to. Now I want. Hello, Dave Thomas. Hello, Mayor. Hello, Aunt B. Wave at us all out there.
That's great.
So congratulations.
I just got that email, literally just came, I just wanted to share.
How much can you win with that?
As much as you can.
Keep going.
Equal
Yeah,
to millions.
Clear the board.
As long as he keeps winning, he keeps earning, so, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We know you'll do us proud when you get there,
Well,
so.
if I get there, but thank you.
And if you don't, then you're
I'll
going to be
try
in
again.
trouble.
Well, I'll just try again next year.
Mrs. Bucklew,
The work that's been done on the island, will the sidewalks be put in immediately after that's done?
After water goes in, we're planning to put sidewalks in, I believe that might even be the next budget year.
Oh, so not this year, it won't be getting done this year.
Water won't be in and out before the end of the year, we kind of plan for sidewalks to be put in after all the utilities are installed.
Okay. Did we get our smart locks for the bathrooms yet?
that would be an Andrew question and Jerry, I don't know.
Well, Mary Shoulders, who used to be the council person, she and I were down at the walk trail Monday morning. We both need to go to the bathroom, and 20 to 9, the doors were locked. So I called City Hall.
Us, they don't unlock until 9, is what they told me.
Well, it used to be 7 in the
They
morning.
told me 9 when I called.
We've had so much trouble, that's part of it.
Well, mine's too late, really. 'Cause a
Yeah,
lot of
it is.
people Go walk at 5 or 6 in the morning down at the river trail.
I just know a long time, well, I always thought it was 7 o'clock. They were open.
I'll follow up with Jerry on that.
Okay, and something else, the historic signs in town look awful. What are we gonna do with those?
What, the street signs?
Those signs that, they're all
Those big
faded
metal
now.
ones that have the,
Yeah,
like the
they're all
battle,
faded,
like
yeah.
the one that's out here about the Buckhannon flag.
Yeah, it's awful.
You said they're fading, so you're
Yeah,
saying they're fading.
Which, like,
You know, those ones that designate places around
It's like
town.
the Civil War.
Yeah.
heritage.
did we put those in?
I don't know.
I mean, like, there's one up at the city park, there's one right here. I don't know that they have our city seal anyway. I don't know that we put those in.
I think Jerry installed them, but I don't know that they were city signs.
Right.
Really?
I think it was maybe like the Daughters of the American Revolution or
Okay.
something like that, because it's war history is
I mean,
what it
it's
is.
awful. They're awful.
Jerry would have to.
Yeah.
That's all, and I want to welcome Rob to the zoo.
Double Z.
Mr. McCauley?
Just wanted to say we had a water board meeting this morning, and our consulting engineers, Potesta, found out for sure that we can save 5 months on the certification process. And instead of the new water plant being fully operational in October 2030, it'll be in May of 2030. That's all I've got.
Jerry just texted me real quick. We do not have internet access at the water trail, or at the walk trail. So we've got to figure that out before we can, and then the signs, they are state signs. So we would need to contact somebody probably from like historic preservation or something like that. All right, Jack.
Okay, well, Rob, Mr. Ziliani, welcome aboard. And we know you're going to be an excellent addition to council. So congratulations on that. The Lacey Ramsey, her report and the activities of the CVB are just stellar. And I really appreciated what she presented this evening and the vision she has and what she's doing in that particular board. And I didn't have a chance to say anything about CJ at our last meeting. And he obviously is a tremendous asset to Buckhannon, has done wonderful things on council, but Great Buckhannon and other things that he's contributed. Enjoy retirement, CJ. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Thomas?
I want to thank CJ for all the years that he served on council and the other activities he does within the community. Jawbone, Great Buckhannon, all sorts of different things. So God bless you, CJ. I'm very, from what I hear, the Humane Society just is overloaded with pets. That people have, I guess the cost of feeding animals has gone up dramatically. And also a lot of people during COVID wanted to get pets, and you know, it's a big responsibility, so they're giving a lot of So if you want to have a pet, consider the Humane Society, or go up there and walk the dogs. They need exercise. I'm still getting phone calls occasionally. People really are irritated with all the cats down at the Riverwalk. And I think we need to focus on what we're going to do to take care of that problem and discourage people from dropping off pets all over the place. And that's something I think we need to, at some point, Robbie, really focus on. You know, we had the college give a report to that, and nothing's really happened. I wish everybody a good weekend. We've had some very good meetings, and we've got a lot of challenges and opportunities ahead of us. So we need to stay focused. You all have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too. Mr. Zuliani.
Two things. First of all, I just wanted to commend the city and the sponsors on the 4th of July, or actually the 5th of July fireworks. It was great to see Jawbone packed. The rain held out about as long as it could. People got to do what they needed to do. The band played, and it was actually unfortunate that it rained at the end, but it's just great to see the city that full of people and downtown. And second of all, seeing that it's right after the 4th and it's prime baseball season, I just wanted to make it known that Buckhannon, specifically at West Virginia Wesleyan's Ellis Field, is hosting the American Legion Area 2 tournament. That's coming up. The manager or the coach is Kevin Boring, and it's made up of a lot of local kids. It's a great event. They put in an inordinate amount of volunteer hours, getting fields ready, traveling, playing. In this tournament, it's Area 2, and it's composed of Buckhannon Post 7, Bridgeport Post 68, Clarksburg Post 13, Elkins Post 29, and Morgantown Post 2. And the games, the 3 games per day starting on Wednesday, July 17th through the 19th. And the 2 top teams advance to the West Virginia State American Legion Tournament the following week in Martinsburg. And the admission is $7 per person per game, but the caveat is veterans get in for free. So if you know any or see any, it's a great, they can spend a few days taking in 3 ball games on the house. So Kevin does a great job with that, and wanted to help him, and hopefully people can come down. Every game's going to be at Wesleyan's Field. And again, it's the July 17th, Wednesday through Friday the 19th.
Do I get a discount?
Sure. And I want to thank everyone for making me feel welcome. And I know I've got shoes to fill, but I appreciate it and look forward to serving. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sanders.
Well, again, welcome to Rob Zuliani, and best wishes for CJ to have some extra time with his grandbabies when they're around, and some other endeavors that he's always into, and everybody that said it, you're right, he's given a lot to this community, and I know he'll give a lot more. Echo what Mr. Zuliani said. Great Buckhannon produced a wonderful 4th of July event down at Jawbone Park, and Mayor, congratulations. You pulled together a lot of great sponsors who funded a fabulous fireworks show. And again, Rob was right. The rain just kind of worked around it, you know. It really blessed us. I mean, you know, some of us got pretty wet at the end there, but we were all enjoying those fireworks shortly after at 9:30, and it was a great show. And finally, just want to mention that there will be, of course, Great Buckhannon will have their Festival Friday tomorrow, but also happening tomorrow night at the Culinary Arts Center is the Rustic Mechanicals, who have a lot of talented people in their group. Jason Young is one of our main contacts, and they're putting on a funny, fabulous Shakespeare twist. It's called The Tempest, and there's tickets available. 7 p.m. is when it starts. It'll be a hot day tomorrow. It'll be nice to hit the air-conditioned building at CAC. I don't want to jinx our air-conditioning system, but, you know. But you know, I encourage you to consider taking in as much of the Festival Friday as you can, and then about 6:30, make our way up to the Colonial Arts Center, get a ticket, go in and enjoy the Tempest, a little William Shakespeare, and it's going to be funny. It's going to be a great presentation. So that's it for me.
Thank you, sir. Well, Rob, welcome. Happy that you're here, and I was happy that on election night that you were going to be joining us, and it seems like it's been a while coming, but now you're finally with us. So congratulations again, and we're looking forward to having you on the team. I want to just thank again our sponsors. We had Citizens Bank of West Virginia, Mike Ross and Ike Morris. We had Parmar, the donut shop. We had Potesta and Associates, and then of course Buckhannon Toyota all stepped up to help sponsor our fireworks. And so we we're very, very fortunate to have a great business community that sees the value in providing entertainment and quality of life for our citizens here in Buckhannon. So and I got I'm up for president because I got the rain.
Oh, that's right. I saw that. I saw that.
Risa Straight Hannafin, she said, Robbie for president. It got the rain to stop. Not so much to do with that, but really happy that we had a great 4th of July. I texted Randy and Andy earlier that day when there was a point in time when the rain chances for 6, 7, 8, and 9 were 100%. I'm like, we need to postpone. We can't be having this, but somehow it moved around us. So I'm glad everybody had a great time. Thanks to all the colleagues on council for all the hard work. We've had a long day today, lots of meetings. This is our only scheduled meeting, the city council meeting for the month of July. In case we need to call a special meeting, we can, because we've got a few more weeks left in the month. But and then our next meeting will be on Thursday, August the 1st. So there'll be 5 Thursdays in the month of August. Love those. So just put that on your calendar. I know it's been kind of a different summer with the cadences of meetings this time. But anyway, thank you all for all the work that you do. Sure.
So this is out of order, I'm sorry. I
Yep, violation.
All right, I get 3. I completely forgot to mention this, but tomorrow night at the high school,
Yes.
West Virginia is playing a scrimmage game against the team, open to the public, and there's a lot of interest, not to compete with what you just.
Right.
Yeah. That's gonna be a great event and open to the public.
The Mountaineers.
It's the Best Virginia tournament.
Oh, that's
West-
Virginia.
yes.
Yeah, I see.
Yes, so they're having kind of a tune-up before the real tournament starts, TBT, and they're playing at Buckhannon Upshur High School tomorrow evening. I believe it's at 7, I may be incorrect on that.
I
Is
think
it
you're
7?
right. Mitch Shaw has has put in a lot of hard work in getting that to happen. So great job to Mitch, and I hope it's a good turnout tomorrow night for that. And it's the baseball event that you mentioned, that coming. I mean, these are important things to have on people from the outside come to Buckhannon to see what we have to offer. Not only do they just come and drive through town and see how pretty it is, but they come, they eat, they might stay, they shop, they buy gas. It's really good midsummer pump into the economy for Upshur County. So that's a good thing. We've got some opportunity on the Novellis property. I'm very hopeful. We've got some interest. It's not metal this time, but we've got some interest. So it could be an added employer into the community. So keep your fingers crossed with that. Has to be very tight-lipped for now, but just we're working on it. So, all right, that's it. Rodney, thank you again. We always forget to thank you for covering us, but we appreciate you. So.
Hey.
At 8:38, I entertain a motion that we adjourn.
So,
All right, have a good weekend.